What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. Today we're talking more and more Mercado. At this point in this daily news show, should just be called Mercado Watch 2022, and we'll just change it by the year. But that's a lot of the news. That's a lot of what you guys care about until we actually see that Inter match come up again on Sunday. But anyway, we got a lot of that to talk about and dive into today. Juventus are potentially looking at moving on from one Italian player to get another one that played this weekend, as well as some of the other things that we had going on. Stick with us. We'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today, it's Wednesday, March 30th, 2022, and of course I have your latest rundown of all Juventus, all things that you care about, all the news as quickly in and out about as you would like. Before we do that though, let's go ahead and hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. If you haven't already, consider also joining the member squad. All the guys that you see guys and gals that you see during the live videos that are highlighted in green, that have badges next to their name, they are the ones that make it possible for us to do all the videos that we do each day in and day out, and all that goes along with that, as well as consider following us on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff at Bianconeri Zone. If you want to follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter. All right, let's just dive into it. What news we have for you for today, and of course, the very first one we're talking about is Calcio Mercato's report saying that Juventus are really thinking about bringing in Giacomo Raspadori, but first they need to resolve the Kean situation. The club is working with Raiola to find a solution, respecting the term Everton had set. Obviously, he's on loan right now with a strong. I couldn't remember it. I apologize if I'm saying this right now while we're filming, so I can't remember exactly if it was a obligation to buy or if it was an option to buy. I probably, knowing Juventus, it seems like it would be an obligation to buy. I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong on that. So take that with a grain of salt. Either way, there was an option to buy when it comes to Moise Kean. I don't know how much of that had to do with his performances, because if it's about his performances, well, he hasn't been utilized that much this season at all. He really has not gotten a lot of time. And when he did play, the last match that he did come in and he started, I was fairly pleased with him. I was surprised. But when it comes to Juventus, need to settle down and look for some serious firepower. They need somebody, especially when you're looking at the situation because of Dybala's departure, you're going to need somebody else to really fill that role. And that's where I think Raspadori could come in pretty strongly. He's a young little, I just almost call him a firecracker, the way he plays. He's so quick, and he's always pressing and always doing, it's a high level of energy that he brings to the field. And that's something that I am big on and that I enjoy watching about Raspadori. If you watch the Italian match, I know it said weekend, it actually meant during this week because it was yesterday, it was a Tuesday, but Raspadori played for the Italian national team. I know a lot of people did not watch it because, let's be honest, it's a match that doesn't matter since they failed to qualify for the FIFA World Cup, so it's not a lot of fun. I give my credit to Chiellini for going out there and playing that, though I was on the edge of my seat nervous that he was going to come back with an injury. Thankfully, our Capitano did not have that issue. But anyway, when it comes to Raspadori, he had 2 goals, and he was playing at a pretty, the reason I watched for parts of this match, let's be honest, I didn't watch the whole thing, but when I turned it on, the reason I watched it were to watch some of these young guys, the guys that Juventus are really linked to. Zaniolo, who didn't really stand out to me, unfortunately, but Raspadori was a guy who definitely did stand out watching his performance. Scamacca did not stand out either. So if Juventus can land Raspadori, I feel pretty good about getting him during the summer. I think that would be a really good option. I know there's also been a rumor out there, and we're staying really long in this first story. There's also been a rumor out there that Sassuolo could renew him, signing him to like a 30 million, whatever, euro deal, something like that. Or not 30 million, but you know what I mean, where he would end up staying for longer and re-signing him for however long. I think that doesn't matter. If we know anything about Sassuolo, they're willing to renew and then sell a guy right after. So we'll see what happens right there. All right, let's continue it on. The next story we have here is Tuttosport, which is really just talking about Antony and his prospects. Juventus are looking at him. He's a big talent, obviously, in Europe. But also he was playing in the South America. That's where he's from. Says Tognozzi, the Juve scout in South America, followed Brazil, Chile, watching Antony. Obviously, Juve knew the player, but the role of the scouts is also to follow the player to show them concrete interest. Man City, and Bayern are in the lead, but Juve remain interested. So it's just kind of a really, it doesn't really say anything more than we've talked about in the past. If you want to go back and we watch those videos, we talked about Antony and his interest at the club, or the club's interest in him. But it's also kind of neat, just give you some background information there about the way that I guess Juve and other clubs court players, if you will, it's not just throwing money at somebody, and that doesn't just fix the problem of throwing money. Sometimes, I mean, it's just like recruiting here in the United States. Players want to know that they're wanted, and they want to see Juve scouts there, and that they're out there, and then pursuing them, showing interest, stuff like that. So that's where we sit right now with Antony. We'll see if that one becomes a hotter number here in the coming weeks, months. Next up, we have Tuttosport, which is talking about Cuadrado and his current situation at the club, saying barring any surprises, Cuadrado is close to being renewed, but the Bianconeri are already looking around for the next player who can play both defensive and offensive roles on the right side. That is why the club at this time is currently looking at Molina from Udinese. So it seems more likely Cuadrado will be here at least for a couple more seasons. We'll see how long. We'll see what kind of deal gets really worked out. I know he has an option to add on 1 year if he wanted to, but he really wants to just stick around longer if he could with Juventus. This is a guy being a team player, right? He's a guy who's willing to potentially now I want to say argue. I want to say negotiate down, like actually take a lower pay to actually stay more years at Juventus. This guy is, I mean, this is what you mean when you talk about being Juve through and through, especially compared to the Dybala situation what went on there. But anyway, talking about Molina. Molina's an option. He's an Argentinian from Udinese. He's a young player, and I say young player, he's 23 years old, always under contract until 2026. It has him listed on here. This one says on the right, it has him listed as a left back and a right midfield. So I'm interested to see if right, I mean, a lot of those guys can play right back and left back in the same situation, just flip it over. Though, depending on your footing, maybe that could throw some issues in there. Just an interesting player to watch. He's a young player, like I said, 23, and it's funny, maybe just because I'm getting older and older, that these players that maybe I wouldn't have said are so young, especially when you're thinking he's young, but he's not Medetti or teenage, whatever years young anymore. So we'll see. Who knows? By the next thing you know, I'll be talking about Buffon age players, 42-year-old, like, oh, he's still young. He still can play the game. Anyway, let's continue on. That's where Molina is right now. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're interested in a player like that. Though, if Juve really want a player that can play on both sides, it's just so versatile, right, guys? All I hear about is how versatile this player is. Why don't they just keep Bernardeschi? Okay, let's get into it. The next story up. I tried to segue that. It wasn't a great one, but it is what it is. Calcio Mercato are talking about Bernardeschi, saying that Bernardeschi wants to stay at the club, but no contacts have taken place so far. Juventus will not offer more than 2.5 to 3 million euros plus bonuses. And again, I don't know what else I can really say at this point when I talk about the Bernardeschi situation. You've heard my opinions on Bernardeschi. I was a staunch defender of Bernardeschi for a while. There is obviously the Italian shield thing in me, where if you throw a vowel at the end of somebody's name and you tell me that they're from wherever, middle of nowhere, Italy, I will support them. That's who I am as a person. Because it's part of my story of why I'm a Juventus fan, all that stuff. But regardless of that, when it comes to this, at this point, Bernardeschi has not been a viable asset for Juventus long term. He is not putting up the numbers that you expect of somebody when they signed him and paid the amount of money they paid him. He wants about 4.5, 5, something like that, around that range. Juventus are, you're not going to get this one over a guy like Arrivederci. Arrivederci, if you've seen, is making, I use the term shrewd, but when I say shrewd, I mean like very intellectual, smart decisions right now, and what he's doing with the players that they're keeping and the players that they are trying to buy and sign. And then if it doesn't fit into that system, he is not afraid to make those tough decisions. Dybala was one of those tough decisions, regardless of how you feel about it. So right now we're looking at about 2.5 million, 3 million euros plus bonuses is what he could be offered. I think if Bernardeschi really wants to stay at Juventus, he will agree to that amount. Though I also wonder, the longer, and obviously there's no contacts right now, so we'll see. Maybe the no contacts is a sign that Arrivederci is like, yeah, we're not going to do contacts. This is it. These are your walking papers at this point. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the situation. But if they do come back to the table, I think if I'm Bernardeschi and I really want to stay at Juventus, you agree to whatever they give you. If not, best of luck wherever else you go. Arrivederci, my friend. That's all I got to say. And then finally, the last bit of news we have for you today is Tutto Mercato Web is talking about Sciglio, saying that before Friday, the club will meet with Sciglio's agent, with the player now almost certain to sign a new deal. And again, we talked about this plenty on the channel. These are not the interesting ones. No offense to Sciglio, because I think we're all pretty in the same boat of like, Sciglio's been useful this year. He's worked well with Allegri. Allegri knows how to get a lot more out of him than he has previously when I've seen him when he was here with Maurizio Sarri. It did not work out very well. So at this point, the Sciglio, another year or two for low wage. Yeah, sign me up for that. He's been good. He's been really good at the time that I've seen him, and I'm happy to see him wear the black and white, at least for one or two more seasons at a low wage. Anyway, if you strongly disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. Any of the news that we talked about today, obviously talking about Raspadori. What are your thoughts on Antony? Have you seen him? Have you watched him play a lot more than maybe someone myself has, as well as Molina? I've seen him a little bit when Udinese played, but honestly, let's be honest, how much Udinese do you think I'm watching? Anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section below all your thoughts on that. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff at Bianconeri. So if you feel so inclined, follow me at Justin Sofer on Twitter as well. We'll see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri.